This week, we're stepping outside our usual comfort zone and trying something new. At least for us. Van lifers have been doing it for years, but now it's our turn. Boondocking right off the highway as we travel down the coast of Washington. Will it be too loud and chaotic with cars rushing by, or can we still catch a solid night's sleep? Stick around and see if this roadside stay ends up being a must or a total bust. This is probably one of the quietest places we've stayed at. Just with all the trees and moss and grass muffling all those sounds. But it's time to move on. The spot we're going to is going to be right on the ocean. There's quite a few different pull-offs. One of those should work out. Which pull-off is it going to be? We have a couple we hope it's going to be, but if they're occupied or if they don't really work for us, then we'll just go for a different one. But yeah, I think Brian just has to take the Starlink down, then we'll be on our way.
Bye. The one thing I'm hoping for on this trip is that the speed limits finally stop going from like 60 miles an hour to 30 miles an hour or within a 2-mile distance, and that we can actually just kind of really cruise down the coast at a average mile an hour.
And for any of you thinking that you can just not slow down for some of those speed limit changes, if you're hauling anything, please do, because they're there for a reason.
Yeah, definitely pay attention to the posted signs that are yellow going around corners. They are really something to adhere up here. The turns are blind, and so if there's any parked traffic or slower traffic ahead around those turns, you won't be able to see them. Not to mention just the handling around those corners pulling something this big.
One cool thing about this area is that they are doing a bit of construction on a lot of the little bridges, just small bridges over tiny creeks and stuff. But I think they're widening them because we came across some that were insanely tight. And we've noticed, I don't know, 5 of them?
Yeah.
That they're doing construction on. So we think that they're going to widen them up and it'll be a little more.
It's nice that even when you're boondocking down the coast, there's not a whole lot of spots for a rig this big to stay. There's so many RV parks that you can dump at, and it's only $10 or, you know, some of them are free. So it's really not that big of a deal as you cruise.
And if you're in a van or something smaller, you definitely have a lot more options for boondocking. We're just so big. I don't think our stay in Washington is going to be very long, but it is beautiful.
Definitely don't run out of gas down here because the 2-lane highways, they're pretty narrow and there aren't any pull-offs except for maybe every 5 miles. So make sure to fill up.
Since we crossed over the Canadian border, we have not gone grocery shopping. Our fridge is very low on everything. We have eaten 27 hard-boiled eggs in a week. Which, by the way, an egg salad sandwich with sriracha on it is really good. Hidden gem that I discovered I really found I liked.
We just got all set up, so obviously it's time to go take a walk on the beach. There's a couple people hanging out on their own lounge chairs, enjoying the day. 5 minutes. Katie found her little treasure.
A big treasure, that's not little.
Big treasure. Maybe we should have paid for that license and went clamming. We could have frozen a bunch of them and then made clam chowder for the rest of the month if we...
Yeah, do you guys have any tips for clamming? Where we don't have to buy a bunch of equipment?
Shovel.
Oh, I guess that's true.
Those kids, they were finding them left and right, man.
Oh, yeah. So we just need to hire a bunch of little kids?
Yeah.
Does anyone have a bunch of kids that know how to find clams? We could bribe them with some ice cream to do some clam digging for us.
Isn't it always the kids' luck? Like, you'll see adults going to do something when they're not having any luck. And then you see some random kid go, I found gold.
And I do love all the moss and mushrooms, as you guys know. I've mentioned a million times already now. There is a lot to explore and a lot to look at, but we definitely miss having a horizon, seeing the sun move, and having a little bit more movement to the landscape. Well, that's what's great about our life. We can be in a cocoon of woods one day and then on oceanfront property the next.
Yeah. Go grab a little trailer, throw it on the back of your Honda Civic. Go adventure.
Yeah, don't be at home. Don't be crabby. I was waiting.
Is that a crab?
Yeah. Another dramatic fall down the stairs.
The other night I was coming through the bedroom, down into the living room, wearing my stupid little winter socks that are super fluffy and they have little grippies on the bottom. And I slipped on one of the steps and just gave this fall down the stairs that is instilled in Katie's memory and ended up with about a 4-inch gash out of my shin and laid there. And what was the first thing I said? I'm gonna need some Band-Aids.
Oh, of course. I thought he was just being dramatic to make me laugh or something, but then I saw him, he was just like all the way down to the floor, and I was like, maybe he's not just being funny and dramatic, and then he said he needed Band-Aids. And
RVs, the most dangerous thing on the planet. Just waking up this morning. It's just nothing but pure gray out here on the beach today. A couple campers slept on the beach here last night. It's fun to see. And where they were originally last night was where high tide came in, so hopefully they moved before high tide. It's really peaceful around here. We're gonna have to figure out what we're doing today. I know we got a couple chores, but sometimes when you live in this life, you're just kind of hanging out.
I think the sun's gonna break through just in time to jump into the water. There were some girls that were camping on the beach this morning, and I invited them in for a cup of coffee. So we talked for a little bit and became friends, and someone suggested that we go for a swim, and we all agreed that it was gonna happen, whether it's hot or cold. It'll be cold, but I think it'll be fun.
You're cold. Yeah.
We need it.
I think our plan is to like jump in, run out, and then get in the car and turn the heat on. Okay, yeah.
When you're out on the road, you can't help but run into people who share the same spirit. People who just want to enjoy life and really live it. So don't be afraid to live life your way. Push your limits every now and then. It's worth it. Even if that means jumping into icy water off the coast of Washington.
I'm completely surrounded by crazy women. It's got to be 65 out, 62 air temperature wise. I can only imagine what that water temperature is. And now they're just hanging out in it.
For us, one of the best parts of traveling is meeting new people and hearing their stories. So if you ever see us out on the road, don't be shy. Stop by and say hi. We'll happily share a coffee, or maybe even a beer.
Did it make you want to do it?
No.
You're shivering?
Yeah. They're swimming and I'm out here shivering.
So the spot we chose to stay at, we thought it was a pull-off on public land. Apparently it's on private property, and we were asked today to leave, which is no big deal. I completely understand, and the lady was very nice. Just a little misunderstanding. We read all the signs. We thought that everything on the other side of the fence was private property, but apparently the pull-off on the side of the road is private property. That's not a big deal. We got a good night's rest in. The property owner was very nice in asking us to leave, so we're gonna say goodbye to this nice little beach spot and hopefully find another. And we'll get off her property, head to the next place a little farther south in Washington. So we really like the concept of these block things, because they stack so well like Legos, and they have a little holder for when you're not using them. But they do need to line up properly, and rocks happen. They get mushed. Probably take a hammer to them and see if we can get them to fit back together. Okay. We found a spot, and I can see where we just were. It's not the first little peninsula, but it's the second one over there. Yeah, I think we're about 2 miles away from the spot we were just at. And I think the surfing's even better here, so I might have to dip in and do some body surfing. We found the best place to level out while we're still hooked up, but we're kind of in the middle of grass. But that's okay, because we have a mat, and that's what it's for.
This is why you always talk to locals and listen to what they have to say. While we were hanging out here at our little roadside stop that we're spending the night at, a local had stopped by. His name was Arnie. I believe he was raised up here, or he's from up here. But I asked him about these wave breaks that are like a mile off the shore. He told me that the area that we've been in the last few days is called Washaway Beach. There used to be land that went all the way out to where those shore breaks are. And up on the north side, there used to be a school up there. He was telling me that you can get property that's seaside right here super cheap because the beach is always washing them away. So that's pretty crazy, but the ocean will always take it back. Just getting things going this morning after our first night parking on the side of the road. How'd you sleep?
I slept pretty well. I was a little worried about being close to the road and it being a bit loud, because there are a lot of truckers and loggers coming through here, and they're a bit louder than the average car. We also had the crashing waves that kind of muffled it.
Yeah.
Or that wasn't so startling, just hearing a car in the middle of complete silence. It kind of was like a sound machine.
We always listen to Katie's Guts, even though last night I paused on listening to Katie's Guts, but Katie's Guts say that we should move on. So we're gonna move on today after checking out a cemetery that's across the way.
Yeah, it's a pioneer cemetery, and it was a part of the town, little community that was a part of Washaway Beach that is currently underwater in the ocean. It was moved in the 70s, and the last person to be interred was in the late 70s, 1970s that is. Many of those people passed away in the 1800s. Many of them were people that died at sea or were found at sea from various ships.
They've already moved this cemetery once from the town that is now underwater over to here. And as Katie was pointing out, with this being Washaway Beach, the cemetery is now going to be under threat again of needing to be moved at some point in time. I imagine the next 50 years.
Yeah, I'm not sure when, but this entire stretch of the 105.
We're going to get some breakfast going and then hit the road.
That was a total of a 9 whole long excruciating minutes of driving down to our next spot. You good? Brian just kicked something and almost ate shit. Sorry. Brian's going in for his final shot. He's reading the green. Not entirely too sure about his approach. This is a difficult spot. I would make more golfing jokes, but I don't know much about golf.